Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. We're going to go over the details of the 16.8-inch center screen for the 2025 and 2026 GMC Yukons. If there's something here that maybe I didn't cover or didn't give you enough detail on, tell me down in the comment section and I will try to come back and fix that and help you out a little bit more. But I think this will work really well for everybody who is maybe buying one of these Yukons, or you just did and you're trying to learn the technology here, which is not hard to learn, by the way. So let's get into it right here. Let's go to vehicle status. Now there's a few different things you're going to see down here. First of all, we're going to see maintenance, and that's going to give you all of this information, including tire pressure, your brake pad life, oil life, and also your engine air filter. And you can go into each of these, and there's a couple of different options depending on what you go into at the bottom of the screen, as you can see right there. And in this case, we can actually add this to the driver's display. So if you want to do that, you can. You can turn it off. I don't know why you'd want to, but you could. You can also reset it if the technician doesn't reset this after you get your air filter changed, which could happen. You never know. You can do that yourself. And then you can also see that you can add this to the display. Everything here is something that you can add as far as that goes. It just depends on what you want on your driver's display, so it's right in front of you instead of just being here on the center screen. And let's go to gauges right here to show you what's going on. And we'll go in right here, and you can see, once again, you can add these to the driver's display. It just depends on what you want. But if you're wanting to know about your transmission fluid temperature, oil pressure, you can see what all is here. Oil temperature, all of that's going to be here. And so if you're saying, you know what, Tom, where is that stuff? How do I use it? I'd like to be able to see those numbers and that information. Well, here's how you're going to do that. It's actually pretty simple to get to. And how about trip information? Well, here it is. This is going to give you all of that. You can come in here and do whatever you need to do with everything and see the different details. And so pretty simple to figure out. It's just knowing where this stuff is that I know some of you have asked me about, and that's what prompted this video. But you can see what all is here. There's your fuel economy if you want that. That's something that it seems like you should automatically have on your driver's display. But once again, you can add that if you want to. And I know some of you, when you fill up, you like to reset, so you can do that right over here if you need to do that. I'm just going to show you that right there. So it's going to give us that information. We can reset that if we want to. And there you go. Pretty easy to deal with. I like that, but it's nice to know what all is here. Now, something to note, we're going to go back home right there, just in case you're saying, how do I get home? Pretty easy to do that too, but I guarantee you, people are going to ask if I don't show some of these things. Now, with my GMC, this is going to have some different information on it. I don't know if I can show you as much as I would like to. Probably not in this particular case, but I'm going to let the new owner accept everything, but you've got all your terms right there that you can accept. We're going to go back in that. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you as much as I would like to here because I can't sign in, but you can see some of the details that are going to be here as far as this goes. We'll go to a couple of the different screens. Some of these are not going to be available right now as far as this goes because, again, I'm not signed in and haven't set up an account. I don't want to do that because I want to leave that for the new owner to do. Now, as far as Google Assistant goes, you can say, hey, you know who, and ask all sorts of questions. You don't have to do that. And the reason I'm not doing that is because I don't want to set off devices in your house, but you can do something like this. Tell me a joke.
Why shouldn't you write with a broken pencil? Because it's pointless.
Yep. That'll give you an idea right there. But you can ask all sorts of questions. You can even set up navigation with voice commands. There you go. I don't need to go too much further on that. The Play Store is going to have everything that you need. Again, I'll have to sign in for that, so I'm not going to be able to show you what's going on there. But here's where you're going to download additional apps that will work with your vehicle, and there's a bunch of them. You can see all the icons right there, and that is very convenient. Now, we're going to go back here. Now, one thing I also won't necessarily be able to show is the navigation, but this is where you're going to find that, so that way you know what's going on where that is concerned. And we can do this right here as well. And let's see, can I get rid of that? We'll go ahead and do this just so I can show you what's going on. Now here's where you're going to have your navigation, where you can set things up with Google Assistant and say, you know, give me directions to wherever. And again, I don't want to set off devices in your house, or I would demonstrate that, but it's just one of those things that's super easy to deal with and super easy to use depending on what it is you want to do. Now, you do have a couple of different things here. Now that I set that up, we can show you what's on this screen as far as that goes. And so very easy to use. The technology may look difficult here, but it's not. Now, what I'm going to do is real quick, just because it's part of what's here, I'm going to set up everything for my phone. So we're going to pair my smartphone here. It gives you all of the information as to what you need to do. Here is the screen I'm going to need to go to, at least on my iPhone. I don't have anything but an iPhone here, so I can't show you with an Android device, but the process will be similar. We need to hit pair, and then we're going to also select pair right there. We're going to select allow right there, and we're going to let it do its thing. Going to select continue right there. You just follow the commands on the screen, the prompts on the screen, and you'll be good to go. So depending on what you want to do, you can select enable or disable. And we're going to let this go ahead and happen to connect Apple CarPlay. And there you go. You can see it's that easy. And then you can go in and do whatever you want to, whatever you need to. If you want that screen up, if you want to play music off of YouTube or whatever app you have on your phone, you'll be able to do that. Pretty simple to figure out. And now we'll come back here so you can see that that is done. Now, cameras. Let's go in and take a look at our different camera views. Now, you have your overhead 360-degree view on the left-hand side of the screen, and we also have our rear view and our front view. And notice the two dots right here. You can see where the green dot is right there on the far left-hand side of the screen down here. And depending on where that is, will determine which camera view we're looking at. Several have more than one view, as you can see. That's our overhead view. You also have your side view mirrors. We'll go over here. There is your bumper or hitch view, depending on if you need to hitch up to a trailer. You can also see the split screen with the side view mirrors. And there you go. That's pretty easy to deal with. I like that. Now, trailering. Quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but you can add your trailer if you want to, and then you'll have what you need in there. You can give it a name. There you go as far as that goes. And then we can come back out here. You can have a guest trailer. If somebody's going to have their guest trailer, you can go ahead and hitch that up and use that. It's going to show you what's going on as far as that goes. You can do the brake lights and test everything and make sure everything is working. You can have boat ramp assist, so you don't wind up in a YouTube video where people are laughing because you couldn't back your boat up into the water at the launch. That has happened before, and there are videos about that out there. Now, we'll go back here and go back to trailering. Let's hit the right one right there. Just to show you one more thing, you also have weight right here. So I can't really demonstrate that, but if I had something on there, it would let me see what my weight is. There's actually a sticker on the inside of the driver's side door that gives you a lot of information to figure out if you're towing or what you can tow, depending on a few different things, how much weight you have in the vehicle and different things like that. A lot of people don't realize that just because the tow rating is 8,000 pounds doesn't mean that's what you can tow under all conditions. I know some people might have questions about that, but I'm not going to get into that today, but there are good things to know about. So we're into settings here. Here's what you're going to have if you want to turn Apple CarPlay on and it's not working or something like that's going on. Here's where you're going to come to make sure that's turned on correctly. And as you can see, all you do is make sure that that green check mark is there. The same thing with Android Auto. You're going to have all of that. If you want to see your devices, you can see there's my smartphone, my iPhone right there that I just connected. And then you can see everything else. Wi-Fi networks, your Wi-Fi hotspot, and then vehicle to phone sharing if you want to use that. Also, we have our trusted device list. Now, I don't have anything on there right now, but if you want to add something, somebody's phone in the vehicle, something like that, then you can do that. This is really a simple system to use because, like I say, the hunt and peck method will do you very well. If you want to change the audio settings, here is everything for doing that. You do have the Bose premium audio system here that sounds very good, but you might not like the factory settings. Here's where you come to change that. And teen driver mode. Here's something that I know a lot of you parents may be interested in. All we're going to do to set this up, I'm going to do this really fast and make it easy. We're going to do that. It's going to ask me to do it one more time. You put in your 4-digit PIN, and then you're going to have everything here as far as that goes. Now, I'm not going to have any information to show you, but you can see all of the different options. One thing to note here is that when you pair you use this, you're going to pair it to one of your remotes, your key fobs. And remember which is which, because if you hop into the vehicle with the wrong one, whichever driver is normally using one, whichever, if you want to do that, well, or maybe you haven't paired but one and you might wonder, why isn't it working? Well, that's one of the reasons why. So you can go right here and you can add, so you can have more than one paired. That way you know what's going on where that is concerned. You can view the report card, and again, I'm not going to be able to show you anything because I haven't done anything, but it shows you on the screen what you can monitor as far as your teen driver goes. Heck, you could set it up for your adult drivers if you wanted to. You never know. And your settings. What do you want going on here? You definitely want to make sure to come in here and check what you want on, what you want off. It just depends. If you want the speed limiter on right here, you can go in and turn that on, or you can turn it off. It just depends on your personal desires, your settings. Now, if you want to change the PIN, here's how you do that. And we're going to change that PIN real quick. It's going to do the same thing and prompt us with our 4-digit PIN to set that up. And to make it easy, in case one of you come in and buys this Yukon, we're going to clear the PIN. That's how you do that. Now keep in mind, your teen will not be able to use that feature or do anything with it if they do not have the PIN. So obviously make sure to use something they won't know, something you'll remember, whatever it is, write it down, hide it, whatever you need to do as far as that goes. Rear seat reminder and buckle to drive, I think that's pretty easy to figure out. You can turn that on or off. I do recommend using your seat belt when you drive, so I do like to leave that on unless I'm driving around in a parking lot, such as where I'm filming the video today, because I'm going to make a couple of videos with this Yukon. This model does have Super Cruise, semi-autonomous driving, in case you want to know about that. Here's something you can have as far as the turn signal for lane change. Basically what that means is the vehicle will change lanes automatically when it needs to go around slower moving traffic, and the turn signals will automatically come on. It's a shame that doesn't work 100% of the time for those of you that don't like to use your turn signals for whatever reason that is. Now, you can go with turn signal activated. That means that you will actually use the turn signal, and when you turn it on, it will automatically sense that you're saying, let's change lanes. It's going to do that when it's safe, or you can turn it off. You can see what's there. It gives you all that information on the screen. And again, something that maybe doesn't even require much explanation. Climate and air quality. If you want auto fan speed, you can do that. As you can see, you can just preset that so when you get in the vehicle, it's either going to be on low, medium, or high. And then we go to our cooled and ventilated seats. As far as when you get in the vehicle, do they automatically turn on? Do they not? What do you want to do with that? Your heated seats will be the same way. You can manually turn those on if you want to. If you do, obviously you turn that feature off. Some nice conveniences, that's for sure. Your auto defog, that way you turn the vehicle on with auto stop, or excuse me, your auto start, and it will automatically turn that on. You can do that with the front and rear, as you can see right there. Just a nice little convenience that makes life a lot easier. Now, speed assist. What do we have right here? A few different things going on here. Traffic sign recognition, and you have your adaptive cruise control from signs. You can turn that on. Something that I don't think I could handle, chime when speeding. So that means if you go above the speed limit, it's going to chime and let you know. But keep an eye on that. Whatever you do, I know a lot of us like to drive a few miles over. Some places you don't have a choice because you'll be run over if you don't. I know that's the case here in Northwest Louisiana. And something that I know I couldn't handle is that chime that will ding when the speed limit changes. I'm just going to keep an eye on the signs. That might work better for some people than it does for others. But if you're wondering about that feature, there it is. Adaptive Cruise Go Notifier. And one thing to notice about this, again, not going into a lot of time and detail on this, you can always pause the video, but if you want to know exactly what a feature does, you have the description over here on the right-hand side of the screen. and that will make it a little bit easier for those who are wanting more details. Something that people like to know about your safety features, ultimately, the collision detection systems. You can go into your alert type. So here's the difference with this. You have what's called the safety alert seat here. Depending on what you need to know about, the seat will vibrate in the appropriate area. If you're about to change lanes and you start to move over, the seat's going to vibrate on the left-hand side or right-hand side, depending on where you are. Or if you just want the beeps, you can do that. But I do like the beeps and the alert. All of that's going to be there. That works really well as far as I'm concerned. Just my favorite thing to have turned on, or my favorite feature of those two. Forward collision avoidance, front pedestrian braking, intersection collision braking. And again, you can go in and make some changes here, alert and brake, or just alert, or if you want to turn the feature off. I've had people ask, how do I turn automatic emergency braking off? There's how you do that. You can go into every single one of these and do that. You've got your intersection collision braking, side bicyclist alert, lane change alert, reverse automatic braking. That actually is a nice feature if you're not used to a vehicle of this size, although you do have those cameras that will show you what's going on around you. Park assist, rear cross traffic braking, and you also have rear pedestrian alert. And we'll move on to comfort and convenience. Now, here's something you might not know about. I've done a tutorial on this, easy exit height, vehicle height. So what this does is means when you have the air suspension, it's going to lower the vehicle when you go into park, and just basically brings it down to make it a little bit easier to get in and out of. You do have the automatic assist steps that make that even easier, but if you want to take advantage of that, there is where that feature is. And something that might be of great interest, the chime volume. I know I like to set that at about the medium point, but you can set it way up, you can turn it way down, whatever you want to do. This is as low as it goes, but you can do that. So depending on what you need to do with that, there is how you adjust the chime volume. Some people are going to want to know about that. Hands-free exterior storage access. You go and stand at the rear on the left-hand side of the vehicle, and you'll hear a bunch of beeps, the brake lights will flash, and a few seconds later your power tailgate will open. Again, you got your description over here if you want. Make sure that's set to open only instead of off if that isn't working. That's something that I know a lot of people have asked about. And we also have our reverse tilt mirrors. So that's going to mean when you go into reverse, the mirrors tilt down. Obviously, as you can see, you have a few different things here to choose from. You can do both driver and passenger, or driver or passenger only. But that does make it a little bit easier, depending on what you're backing up towards, to see what is going on behind you. Make sure you don't hit a curb or whatever the case may be. And remote mirror folding is a feature that I like on my GMC 2500. What that is, when you have that checked to on, when you lock the vehicle, the side view mirrors automatically fold in. When you unlock the vehicle, they fold out. Now, you don't have to leave that on if you don't want to, but it is a nice feature to have right there. Your rain sensing wipers, don't need to tell you much about that. And auto wipe in reverse gear. If you want that to happen, well, you can do that just to make it easier to see. So, pretty simple. Now, we move on to driver attention assist. And once again, you can turn this on or you can turn it off. There is the explanation of what it is. I don't think I have to explain that, hopefully not, but there it is. And you also have drowsiness, and you can see that detect what's going on there. So low sensitivity, normal sensitivity, or you can just turn that off if you just want to. You know, there was a time when we didn't have any of this stuff, and we did pretty well driving down the road. But this is one of the reasons why these vehicles have become so expensive, because you have so many different features and a lot of technology going on here. Now, lighting. And if you're wondering, what is exterior illumination? So you have a couple of different things. When you hit the unlock button, you walk up to the vehicle, it's going to animate the lights, the front and the rear lights. You can do that. You can go to static if you want to, and they just come on, or you can turn that feature all the way off if you want to. So if you're wondering, why isn't that working? Well, there's the reason why, and there is how you fix it. Power door locks. What exactly does that offer? So we're going to have the auto door lock feature here. You can do that with all doors, the driver's side door, or you can turn that off. I think a lot of people like to have that turned on. And your ride height, again, we go back in, pretty much the same thing I already showed you, but you can check this on and off as far as easy exit vehicle height goes. That's going to, again, make it easy to get in and out of the vehicle. And we'll move on down here. Power assist steps, something very important to note here with this particular feature. Number one, you want to make sure that it's turned on. If you're washing your Yukon and you want to leave the steps deployed, here's where you do that. Instead of stow, you hit deploy. One important note to this particular feature: when you put your Yukon in drive, they're automatically going to stow no matter which setting you have that on. So you can't drive with them out. I've actually had people ask about that. No, you can't do that. If that's something you want to do, you might as well just get the affixed steps that are in place that always stay in one place. And then you don't have to worry about that. And your seating position, this is something you may not know about. A very nice feature. So when you turn this on, driver's seat memory, what's going to happen is when you get in, the seat will automatically move into place depending on the key fob that you have. And then when you go to get back out, it's going to move back out. You can do that with exit. That's how you set that up. You can turn that on or off. And that way it's very easy to get in and out depending on, again, which remote you have. That's actually a very important thing to note. When you program a lot of these things, it's going to be based on the key fob that you use or have in the vehicle when you are programming. Now, suspension. Let's go right here. This is not really something you necessarily need to know about. I did a tutorial on this feature recently. You might see on the left-hand side of the driver's display down in the bottom left-hand corner what looks like an icon or an image of your Yukon, and it has an up and a down arrow, and you're wondering, what is that? That's what this feature is. If you see that and you're saying, is something wrong? No, there's nothing wrong. It just changes the height of the vehicle and keeps it in place so that during service, it isn't going to raise up and down and cause any problems in that process. So we'll turn that off. That indicator will go away on the driver's display. Again, if you want to see that in action, I actually showed an in-depth, detailed video on how to deal with that, just to answer what exactly that is. Transport mode. If your vehicle happens to be in transport mode, here's where you're going to come to turn that off. Now, one thing that is very important here, and there's a couple of different ways to get to it, depending on what you want to do. We've got controls. Now, you can go right here and go to controls, or you can go right here and go to controls. And I want to show you what all is here because you might be surprised. So we're going to have our child safety locks. Now, if you want to turn those on for the rear doors, when that area has that blue box around it, basically the rectangle, that means that that feature is in operation. If you want to turn that off, all you do is go right there. And you can see what else we have here. You also have the ability to add your universal remotes. Now, one thing that I do wish GMC had done differently is left some physical controls instead of moving so much to the center screen. But you can add up to 8 remotes. I'm not sure who needs 8 remotes, but maybe some of you do. I don't know. Maybe a lot of you do. Hard to say. But all you do is select Add Remote. It's going to prompt you on everything you need to do. It's very easy. And that's all we need to know about that. Now, your head-up display, if your vehicle is equipped with that, here's where you're going to come to make your adjustments. As far as that goes, brightness, height, and rotation, you can see what all is there. We'll go back out of there. And then you also have your power assist steps. So you can actually come and work with that here in a couple of different ways. Now, you don't do as much here as we did in the settings that I just showed you a minute ago, but you can come here and turn those completely off if you want to, but you can also come and deploy or stow as well. So there's a couple of different options for that as far as that goes. There you go. No big deal. Auto Park Assist is here if you want to use that. This is where you come to do it. The vehicle will show you what to do and let you know as you work through the process of parking. I think everybody can likely find that on their own, figure out how to park on their own, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Climate. Now, you do have physical controls down here for your climate. So I want you to know that you don't have to control everything from the center screen only. Some vehicles have gone to that. Again, I'm not in favor of that. I like physical controls. Some of you do as well, because I know you've told me that. But you can control the front. You can also control the rear, as you can see right there. So we have 3 zones of climate control, 2 in the front, 1 in the rear. And you can go through and do whatever you need to do here as far as your different controls go. But like I say, a lot of that is also down here. Now, you will have to turn your heated and ventilated seats on right down here. Those are your ventilated seats. There's your heated seats. There you go. For those who want to know about that feature. Wi-Fi hotspot. I'm not going to be able to show you a lot with that, but it is here. Here's where you're going to come to manage all of that. And we go back out. Now, recordings, I have a video tutorial on that. That means that when you have the appropriate USB, you can actually come in here and it will tell you what you need on the screen right here. Here's all the information about that. And I don't have one with me today, so I can't show you this. But again, I have a full tutorial on how that works and a demonstration. It's basically a dash cam, and it can record for up to 2 hours, and then it will overwrite the files and start over again. But it is nice to know that that's there. It will come on automatically as long as you have your USB inserted right down there. So a really nice feature to have, and you can watch those videos right on the screen if you want to. Now here's something that I think is very important. Audio. If you want to listen to an AM or an FM station, here's how you do it. You can see that you have Sirius XM, and you can see Bluetooth, the other features that we have. If you want to use USB, whatever it is you want to do, here's where you're going to come to do that. But this is how you select your stations. In fact, I'm going to turn that down just so we don't get a bunch of static. But if I wanted to change stations, I will have to do that right there, or I can do it on the back of the steering wheel also. The controls on the back of the steering wheel on the right-hand side are for the volume, the left-hand side are for searching for a station to listen to, whatever it is you want to do. But it's easy to deal with. Maps, we've already looked at that. You know what's going on there. Phone, right here. If you need to know what's going on, you've got all your different information. If you paired your smartphone, you're going to have all of this here. Probably don't need to go through too much on that. And we've already gone over everything with controls. Next up, we have Entertainment Hub. Now, if your vehicle is equipped, your Yukon is equipped with the rear screens that mount into the headrests back there. Here's where you're going to come to manage all of that. You can turn things on and off and whatever you want to do with that. You can focus on the left screen, the right screen. You can go into your settings, and it's all going to let you see what's going on. Got your legal information down there. And so there we go with that. And if you want to listen to the news, there that is. Depending on what you want to hear, you'll have your different options here as far as that goes. I know a lot of people are very interested in that. So ultimately, that is the tour of the screen. Hopefully that helps somebody out. Tell me down in the comments section if there's something you'd like to see that maybe I didn't cover, but I tried to make that thorough without going too far with it. Thanks for taking the time to watch. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a great day. Make sure to subscribe and share this video on your timelines on social media. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.